You and I are familiar with a wedding approach or formula or ritual that's quite distant from the ancient Jewish wedding after which the Bible is patterned. It opens with a ketubah, the betrothal, the commitment. Generally on the part of the prospective bridegroom, he took the initiative and they established a marriage covenant. And the negotiating price, the moher, was he had to pay to purchase for his bride. And once that was done, from that point on, she was set aside. She was sanctified in a sense, set apart. From that moment on, she was considered exclusively for the bridegroom. It was an enforceable contract. So, and as a symbol of that relationship, they would both drink wine as a sealing of that. So that led to the next step, and this is you'll find this all through the Scripture in Judges 14, 10, and 11, all the way through. But let's go on to the next part. When after that happens, the bridegroom would depart to his father's house, and he would prepare typically a room addition that would take some time for him to construct and arrange for. Meanwhile, sheep would prepare for his imminent return. This is a very interesting concept that we need to embrace and understand, because it's referred to all through the Scripture.
While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight, there was a cry made.
Behold! Behold! The bridegroom!
That the bridegroom, they're committed, but they're not married yet. And the bridegroom is absent. And how long he'll be gone is deliberately indeterminate.
The bridegroom.
She does not know when he's going to return.
Go ye out to meet him.
That's what we mean by imminence. And when he finally did return, there was a surprise gathering, usually at night, often at midnight. And he would sometimes be gone, say maybe for a year, while he added a room to his father's house. And that would give her, of course, a chance to get her trousseau together and get prepared for married life. And so he would, at the end of this separation, he would come to take his bride with him. The groom, the best man, other male attendants would leave the father's house, conduct a torchlight procession typically to the home of the bride. And although the bride was expecting her groom to come, she didn't know when. And so as a result, the groom's arrival was typically preceded by a shout, and which forewarned the bride to be prepared for his coming. But that then leads to the chuppah. I might mention, by the way, in the surprise gathering, that is even memorialized in Matthew 25 by Jesus when he talks about the famous 10 virgins. Understand that parable, the context of it. They're waiting for the surprise of the bridegroom coming. You find that all through the Scriptures, if you know where to look, Psalm 45 and so on. But anyway, the chuppah, then that leads to the wedding proper, and they would be escorted by the members of the wedding party to the bridal chamber, originally a chuppah, now just memorialized with a little canopy, but in the original days it was a separate chamber. And prior to entering the chamber, the bride remained veiled so that no one could see her face. While the groomsmen and the bridesmaid waited outside, the bride and groom entered the bridal chamber alone. There, in the privacy of that place, they entered into physical union for the first time that consummated the marriage, and that was covenant, presumably maybe a year earlier. And after it was consummated, the groom would come out of the bridal chamber, announce that the consummation of the marriage to the members of the wedding party, and then the guests and so forth. The wedding party would announce it to the guests and so forth. And that leads, of course, to the marriage supper. Lasted typically 7 days. You'll find that in a number of places, Judges 14, Matthew 9, Matthew 22. Again, we have it used as an idiom in the parables and so forth. So they had a great wedding feast. So